Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long boys blues, 1975. YouTubers on the rise. Reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends used to bug. Long boys blues, 1975.
Hey YouTube, Longboys Post 1975, and welcome back to another video in the entry of the series I like to call Systems I Never Had Back in the Day That I Simply Cannot Live Without Now. The title's giving it away, but it's this bad boy. Christ, it's this bad boy. The original Xbox, the OG Xbox, I hate that phrase, or as we called it before the Xbox One came out, the Xbox One. I absolutely love this system. I'm a very, very late adopter to it. Is that even a relevant phrase? Because, you know, it's been dormant for years. Well, it's not. It's been dormant on one side as a retro system, but it's alive and kicking on the other side. Much like the hack side of my PSP, which I absolutely love about it, but it's not the main reason I like this. Now, I never had one back in the day. I wouldn't say I was a fanboy. I wouldn't say I was, brand compliant or religious too with Sony, but I had a PlayStation 2. Now, I heard the rumours that when this was coming out, it's going to be all over the shop, I apologise, that it was going to be a powerhouse of a machine. It was Microsoft entering the video game console industry. It was a direct Xbox, is that what they called it originally? And yeah, it was so called over the PlayStation 2 at the time, a system beater, because the power it has under the hood, because it's PC architecture, I guess. I never bought into any of that. I remember the adverts. I remember the advert that was banned with the guy being born, flying across, literally being spat out of his mother, flying through the air, aging before crashing into a coffin or a tombstone, well, grave, I guess. I remember that when it was first aired on British TV before it was banned, because it was. Lots of people think it wasn't, but it was aired on British TV. And I remember thinking at the time, like, the specs are really, really, really good. Online gaming, you can add a hard drive and stuff like that. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I just had no interest in jumping ship. Not because of my allegiance to Sony as such, but just because PlayStation 2 was so big, so important, so powerful. Games from the Xbox would be on it. We'll get into that later on. And yeah, it was, I had no need to. I was happy. Was it inferior? Maybe, but to the untrained eye, it wasn't. And, pretty much everything that came out on that came out on this. And obviously it didn't sell massively compared to, well, it didn't sell massively compared to this. What did it come in? Did it beat the GameCube and the Dreamcast? I honestly don't know. This is not a video shot on facts. It's just my nostalgic, ramblings and stuff like that. But I do remember back in the day that one of my mates had it, and it was quite pricey before the obvious drops in prices and stuff like that. And something we had to get out of the room, get out of the way, the elephant in the room, that apparently it was introduced. And Microsoft spent I'm just saying, what I heard, a massive amount of money. And there was that hangover from the Dreamcast where the guy left the Dreamcast because that had Microsoft gubbings and stuff as such on it, and joined this program that used the Dreamcast as a test program for this. I don't know, old wives' stories, but yeah, they spent a lot of money on it to get their foot. They knew they would have to spend money, maybe take a loss, maybe not be, well, not going to compete with PlayStation 2. Get their foot in the door, if you will. And they did that, spent a lot of money, because it ran for, what was it, 2002 to 2005, and they supported it after 2005, but in 2005, the Xbox 360 came out. So it was literally just to get a brand, I guess, out there. Apparently in Japan it flopped because they don't like big stuff, and it is huge and it is heavy. And I remember all my mates at the time referred to it as basically a VHS of a console. But anyway, waffling. Went to my mate's house and he had one, and I saw Halo, and even I had to sit there with my other mate who went over with me and just go, this is a thing of beauty. I can clearly see, even on, old school TVs, this is better looking than anything I could see on a PlayStation 2. Not trying to start, hardware debates and playground wars and stuff like that. But that's what I thought, and obviously that was an exclusive that was never going to come out on PlayStation 2 because it was Microsoft's, baby. But yeah, I just sat my head there and just thought, do I really need it? No, and I just, rode out the rest of the PlayStation 2's life. And I was completely and utterly happy with it. There were exclusives on this system, that I knew we would never get, but I didn't care. Because for the most part, the software that I would get on the PlayStation 2 was absolutely fine and Jim Dandy, and at least to me, still looked absolutely fantastic to look at. But back in my mind, I should say, I still had that memory of playing Halo. Because I don't care what anyone says, if you played Halo when you've been playing other first-person shooters on PlayStation 2, you realise that it was a cut above. Not just in the design of the game, its execution, and how well it played, but the graphics was something else. But yeah, never got round to it. When I went to Canada, I had a couple of mates who had them, and they talked about hacking them, which was completely blown away to me, because I had a chip PlayStation 2, but they had hacked Xboxes, and they would borrow Region 2 DVDs off me that my mum sent over the pond and stuff, and go, oh, I'll play it in my hacked Xbox and stuff like that. Never thought anything about it. Came back to the UK and stuff like that, and literally went to 2017 with never owning one, but watching stuff, on YouTube and things like that, and never really drilling down and appreciating, how it was done or how good it was. Just went, oh, apparently you can hack it. Amazing, you can chip a PlayStation 2, but I didn't realise what you could do when you hacked it. And then in 2017, one of my mates sent one to me and said, I can't believe that you've never had an Xbox One. You've never had an Xbox One. You really need to get on board with it. I'll fill it up with all the stuff you need, but you can still, use it and operate it as an original Xbox. You need to experience the software library. I'll put some on the hard drive for you. I'll fill it up with emulators and stuff like that. But you need to have an Xbox to, be part of that generation and understand that this machine it's not criminally underrated now, and I wouldn't say it was criminally underrated then. But it didn't, bring in the numbers with, game sales and stuff like that, or system sales, because there were those two massive, maybe it's a UK thing, two massive price cuts. And then they gave you, to the people who were early adopters, they gave them free games and stuff, and maybe a steering wheel to make up for the fact that it wasn't competing, so they had to cut the cost so drastically. But anyway, so having been always like, it was just that other system that I never cared about, I dabbled with for a few times, and then I got one sent in the mail. And much like my hacked PSP, this is when mind exploded. I'll show you a really, really quick little video I just edited together, just really like off the cuff, nothing, special explaining it. If you want to see how you hack it, that's not for me, that's not for this video. Look it up, there's plenty of stuff on YouTube. But yeah, just show you this. So you turn it on, right, and you turn it on not how you would actually turn it on, you turn it on in a specific manner. This isn't about modding, to get you into, well, the, I guess the homebrew side of it. You've got launch DVD, games, emulators, applications, and systems. This is just a quick overview of the elephant in the room, because I've said in this video that it's a brilliant system for emulation, but just want to give you a really, really quick tour de force. So yeah, launch DVD, does what it says on the tin. Go to games. These are games that are pre-installed onto the hard drive because it's hacked. Come back, go into emulators. Then you get 3. You get Cornex 8, Hypervision, and Vision 4. Now, depending upon your setup, these completely and utterly vary, and I fully understand that this setup is going back to 2017. But you got CoinOps 8, which is my favourite. This is a powerhouse of emulation. So CoinOps 8. And then you get this. It retains what you did last. I just did the gameplay of Ghosts and Goblins, I should say, on NES. But yeah, list of games for the system is down the left-hand side. Bottom right-hand corner underneath the arcade kind of, image is the system you're playing. But yeah, NES, that's arcade. These are all, PC Engine CD, PlayStation. And for the most part, it emulates most of them properly. But yeah, Spectrum, they're all on it. But then when you're on the list, you right trigger down and you can scroll through it. But yeah, it's got a very nice interface, very nice menu. This is not about hacking it. There are plenty of videos out there about that. I just want to show you why I love this system. Finally getting onto it. But yeah, it's a powerhouse of an emulation box. Go back again. Oh, reset. Oh, hang on. Up triggers, both buttons on the left of the original Xbox pad reboot, and then you go around to emulators. And you can see the other ones, so forth, so forth. They're set up in different manners. Again, this is just like a really, really quick overview to show why I love this. All these years later. Some have better sort of the production value. Is that the correct descriptive term? I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, so the games are on the left. Scroll down. Yeah. And then we go into the third one. It's skip to the end. Go into the final one, Vision 4, and I believe this is a mixture of arcade games and console games. And do you know what? Various inherent faults in emulating systems such as the music on Mega Drive and the music on SNES games is in here. But yeah, you got Laserdisc games. Okay, classics, console classics, old school. So yeah, it's an absolute powerhouse of emulation. And then you can also go into this DVD to Xbox. I guess is it a ripping program? I've never really used it, but you can go into File Manager, and then if you put in the original Xbox disc, stuff like I've done it on Panzer Dragoon Auto. It lets you explore the disc, and so you can like drill down and watch movies or FMV scenes on the disc, straight from the disc without having to, trigger them playing it in the game basically. And also you can go down to stuff and you can find hidden games. Like I have a gameplay of it where I played original Saturn Panzer Dragoon that's hidden in Panzer Dragoon Auto. Well, it's not really hidden, it's unlockable. So you can either beat the game or play a set number of hours, or you could just use this on the original disc once the system's hacked and just jump straight into the game. There are a number of games, I think Turtles is one of them, where you can use it to basically access these unlockable games without having to unlock them. It's all cool beans. So immediately off the bat, because that's the first thing I delved into with this system, I was like, holy crap, you got all these kinds of emulation and stuff. I actually have the DVD remote and the adapter, so you can use it as a DVD region-free DVD player. But that's just a nice little, add-on I've got. And I still do from time to time, just for nostalgia's sake, because it's running through RGB. But yeah, and so I went through all that, and to this day, this is still the system I use the most for emulation. I mean, I'm not shy to emulation. I've had a MAME running on various systems throughout the years and stuff like that. I soft modded my original Wii, just so I could play Ghostbusters, because it was delayed in this country by a year or something, thanks to Sony. But then discovered that, through the homebrew, all the stuff you could do on it and emulation and stuff like that. But I never realized now, when I sat down in front of it, this is the best system, just me, to emulate guff on. It's absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I just went through it. It's the system I use the most for making retro gameplays and comparisons and stuff like that. And that blew me away. And there were games on the hard drive, and stuff like that, as I showed you briefly on that little edited clip. But that's not really what really did it for me. What did it for me was, I was always kind of, when I had my 360 and I had the potential to play, backwards compatible games through emulation, as ropey as it was on 360, started buying Xbox One, original Xbox games, and loving them, like Halo 1, Halo 2, Project Gotham, all these exclusives and stuff like that. And I clearly noticed it graphically. Punisher, not an exclusive, but love it. Graphically, it was better. It was clearly a more powerful machine. But the emulation on the 360 was flaky as hell. And yes, I have a complete run of original Xbox games now that are the ones that are backward compatible for the Xbox One, where they're not flaky, they're perfect. And if you got an Xbox One X, like 4K and stuff, but I haven't, but that's not the point, I'm just saying it's nice. And I have a full set there installed on my hard drive. But, backwards compatibility and emulation and stuff like that, well, brilliant on the Xbox One, but limited and kind of good on 360, but flaky. I started to realise that for the ones I could play, there were some many great, amazing games. And they were clearly, and stuff like Metal Gear, I forget, Metal Gear 2, but what's the tag name? I can't think about it. Was clearly above the PlayStation 2 version. So I'm like, holy shit, this is a really good machine. And then the bug, and I have a video, and you can see it, of me showing my then original Xbox collection, which has exploded now. I think it's called System I Never Intended to Collect For. I love it. I'm like, it's fantastic. You know, whether it paled in comparison to the sales of the PlayStation 2 and stuff like that, it was a fully executed, wonderfully, brilliantly realized machine that was just absolutely fantastic, and I loved it. And still now, I enjoy going into second-hand stores, charity shops, cash converters, cash generators, and looking for games. Kind of also knowing, well, I completed the set now for my Xbox One, but just to see what they play like on this. And yeah, they look crap compared to playing on, you know, through backwards compatibility and like the HD, like a update on those backwards games. But it's just absolutely fantastic. And as a gamer who was, he wasn't a snob at the time. I told you I didn't turn my back on it because I disliked it or anything. It was just like, I cannot, you know, justify investing in that machine when I have a PlayStation 2. But now, and I have a brilliant brain that goes backwards to kind of being in the mindset of then, and being comparative on these games. So much stuff on it is better than PlayStation 2. I don't mean to start wars and fights and stuff like that, but it is. And I just remember thinking, wow, I really would have liked it back then. Different times, different money, different jobs, disposable cash and stuff like that. So that wasn't a thing. But if I was well off back then, I would totally have had this as a companion piece to my PlayStation 2. It is a fantastic system. It's absolutely fantastic. It's a little large, as I said, but yeah. Now, and not just because of the emulation side, which is absolutely fantastic. Seriously, it's absolutely fantastic. It can do every Mega CD, 32X, SNES, NES, Spectrum, Commodore, Amstrad, Amiga, Atari ST, and then full lists of each arcade company at the time. You know, Capcom, Tecmo, Tourplan, stuff like that, to name a few, Sega. And it's got massive, and it's dependent upon what you put on it. And I didn't preload this, but just like, I cannot live without this now. I cannot express how much this has not just changed my life, is that too strong a descriptive term, in gaming, I guess, but changed my channel with what I can play and what I can record and what I can discuss and stuff like that. I never had this back in the day, and I didn't know. It's like when people say Game of Thrones. Oh, you don't know what you're missing. No, you're right. I don't know what I'm missing because I'm not watching it, and therefore I never will know what I'm missing, and I don't plan to watch it. I am that person who will cut his nose off to spite his face. But when you get it now, you know, fully hacked or fully realised, or I'll be completely honest, be peaty honest, buy one anyway just to play the games that aren't backwards compatible, and obviously they run properly. It's an amazing machine with an amazing library that does look and perform better, notably on certain titles than the PlayStation 2. This really did change my channel. I almost feel a little bit ashamed that I didn't necessarily jump on it when it was around then, but you know, in the early days of my channel, when I heard that it was a behemoth of an emulation device that can be, you know, changed to do anything, I don't need it. I got my Wii that plays MAME and stuff. No, this is another one. It's not. This is above, actually not quite up there. This is above my PSP. This is an absolutely fantastic device. I would recommend to anyone, get an original Xbox. Whether you can play the games, the small library you have through 360 or on, the Xbox One, you need to play them on this with the original pads, with a Duke. Which I did find one secondhand and bought because I heard, like people say, like, the Duke is stupid and it's big. No, it's fantastic because it's big, because it's the Duke. Yeah, this is a fantastic machine. It's so adaptable for everything. But even if you're not, and this is the point I want to make really strong here, even if you're not going to use it for any of that guff, as a standalone system, just to buy old games from, charity shops, second-hand stores, cash converters, cash generators, stuff like that, or borrow off your mates, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. If this died, that's a radiator, Dave, touch wood. If this died, I would go out and buy another one in a heartbeat. Absolutely would. And here's a strong, statement, which is, even if it wasn't hacked, so I couldn't play, all the emulators and stuff like that, I would hack it. I would be completely happy in owning it just to play original Xbox One games on the original system with the original pads and stuff. I know that's similar, but you know what I mean. I'm a little bit ashamed to admit that why did I never take the advice of so many people going back, almost a decade Dave, get on board this. Get on board this. There are so many great games. I can't even list all of them here. You know, like the Microsoft exclusives. It's Microsoft. Type into your Internet Explorer. Microsoft exclusive, the original Xbox. Fantastic, loads of them. So yeah, I had to do a video about this because PSP, couldn't live without that now. This absolutely 100% could not function without this. Even if they were like getting rare and they were really, really expensive, being exposed to this and everything it can do, if this died tomorrow, I'd happily drop £100 on a replacement unit. This is a fantastic machine. As always, I'd love to know what you think. What are your thoughts on the original Xbox? Did you own one back in the day? Did you get one, more recently, simply because of the modding side of it and stuff like that? Or did you just get it for the exclusives and things like that? It's very well revered and very much loved, but obviously back in the day, because of its sales stats compared to PlayStation 2, it was generally considered, oh, it did all right, but, it didn't really challenge the throne. Maybe it didn't. But it did so many things better, and now it does so many things absolutely awesome. It is a true multimedia device, particularly if you're into retro gaming. Anyway, as always, I'd love to know what you think. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later.